We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our friends at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use the box at sign up for 10 points. And here we go.
All right, welcome everybody to another edition of Unsportsmanlike Conduct here on the Sports Box, a very special edition here on 6 p.m. on a Monday evening. I am Paul Macrie, alongside, as always, Mike Velardi, and our special guest this evening is Hamilton's own Ray Scipione and former Phillies reliever Mitch Williams, also does guest appearances on WIP Morning Show. And Ray and Mitch also do Mitch Williams Unleashed, where you can hear on MitchWilliams99.com and also some the Apple Store apps as well. So how you doing, gentlemen, this evening?
I'm doing great. Really excited to be here. Can't believe how good my partner looks on TV here.
Yep, he looks great. Ray?
I have an eating disorder. That's all I'm gonna say.
Just don't get too close to that camera. You look great.
You were doing well before Corona. You were doing well. What happened?
He almost lost his life. That's why.
Well, yes, but I'm just saying you were looking good back in January when you were on with us.
We exchanged bodies, me and Ray.
Velardi lost the weight, and
I put 50 pounds back on.
I lost 7.
If that was a goal, well done.
All right, so we got a lot to get into here this evening. The crust of it will be obviously baseball, what's going on with the Phillies, obviously news that occurred over the weekend. We'll go through some of the current baseball landscape with the playoffs continuing, the division series, the American League Division Series just starting today. Also, Mitch will get his perspective on some of the rule changes that have happened this year and the great commissioner of the MLB as well. And then we'll get some football talk in there as well. But first, I think we should touch base on the news that came out on Saturday with the Phillies pertaining to the firing. They phrase it as letting go, step down, GM Matt Klentak. There's some issues with obviously the way this was phrased, and that Andy MacPhail, the president, still has his job. So, Mitch, I guess your take on all this and what transpired over the weekend.
Well, I was at my son's football game when I heard one of the parents said that Matt Klentak had stepped down. I knew immediately what that meant. I actually texted Ray. And that phrase, stepping down, that means you're fired, but I like you. You're a good guy, so I'm going to keep you here in the organization at some capacity, whether it's making copies or getting paper clips, whatever it may be.
Yeah. Absolutely. I feel the same way. I mean, either that or they told him, hey, listen, we're going to fire you, but we would like to not say that we did a bad job letting you do this and have you go through this process. So we'll just lightly let you have another position and say that we screwed up. And
going out gracefully, kind of.
Yeah.
I guess is
He'll be special assistant to the special assistant to the special assistant to the fanatic.
Hopefully, has nothing to do with scouting, because obviously we know that was they had to revamp their whole scouting department going into the last draft. So we'll see how that all works out in due time. But are you confident that the owner John Middleton can get this done, as far as hiring the guy that they need to hire, with Andy MacPhail, I guess, being the number one guy to do it? And then kind of Middleton getting out of the way and, letting those guys do what they have to do as baseball minds?
I'm not confident. They've given me, well, I can't say that, I guess. They made a good hire in Girardi.
Right.
Given time, hopefully they will come to the realization they have to have someone in that position a whole lot sooner than 6 months or a year, like he was talking about on Saturday. That to me is just telling me as a fan that they're in complete rebuild. He's not going to let this interim GM, who we couldn't even remember, was it something Rice?
Ned Rice. I don't
Ned
know.
Rice. I'd never heard of him. And they're not going to let him make any big free agent signings. I honestly think the only free agent signings we'll see here this winter will be minor league free agents with invites to the big league camp.
Jeez.
Even with obviously all the issues with that bullpen, and obviously they need some experience in that bullpen. Now they got a couple of young guys that maybe they can work, really, have maybe something like a Connor Brogdon look pretty good, and JoJo Romero, those type of young relievers. But other than that, like Hector Neris, that's it for him. He's a free agent, I believe. I think we were talking last week, Velardi.
At some point, you have to punt from that. It's just, I want to take a big truck and just drive around the country for them and just throw kids that have great arms and great character in the truck and drive them up here to Philly, just so I can show Middleton what a legit arm in today's game looks like and what their mentality should be like. Because what they had walking out of that gate this year, that mentality won't do, and that stuff won't do.
Yeah, basing off what you just said, I'm going to throw out a name. You probably know who I'm going to throw out. What's the deal with Vince Velasquez? Why can he not stick in this rotation, in this bullpen?
There's everything about it. His delivery is real slow, and they call him Vinny Velo, but his ball, it doesn't change planes.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't get it to go high to low, which is very easy to do if you're mechanically throwing the ball correctly, then the high to low and velocity works. If it's on the same plane and doesn't change planes during the flight of the pitch, you're going to get hammered. I don't care how hard you throw. They can time a jet if they see it often enough. And
Paul and I talked about it last show. He first time through the order, he looks like Cy Young. Do you think, now you were a closer, do you think he has closer mentality? Yes. Can he be a closer?
Now, this I can't answer the question mentality-wise.
Yeah, that might be a whole different story.
He has the stuff, though, to be a closer.
You could put him on the back end and say, look, dum-dum.
That's what I said, yeah.
Just come in here, throw hard, throw ball fast, and throw your hook every now and then.
Right.
I think he'd make a good closer if he knew how to approach it.
Right. I agree with that. Right, what do you think?
JoJo Romero, we were real high on him this year.
Yep.
Mitch had tweeted one night that he should be the closer, and I'm a little shocked they didn't give him a chance. He's got that he takes the Red Bull, smashes it, and runs out. You know what I mean?
That's Philadelphia.
He's got the mentality, and he's got the stuff.
Right.
And he would also be a guy that you go up to. You'd have to tell him how to approach the ninth inning.
Yeah.
Because you throw too many strikes in the ninth inning, they start wearing out outfield walls with them.
Problem is they were messing around with Brandon Workman for a while, and he just was a disaster. And
I have never witnessed anything like that in my whole career.
I mean, they had the second worst. The second worst ERA in Major League Baseball history in the bullpen this year, and they only played 60 games.
Yeah, it was going to get worse.
Right.
Workman, the very first pitch he threw was to Freddie Freeman, a curveball.
Curveball.
I'm waiting to see how hard this guy. Curveball, hits it the other way, of course.
Yeah.
And game-winning RBI. There was throw to Workman.
I've never seen a closer walk on a field in my life and throw the first pitch curveball, go to 3-0 with curveballs, then throw a 3-0 cutter. 4 pitches, he hadn't even thrown his fastball yet. I have never seen that.
Now, like I said, Paul and I, this is a all sports show, but we mainly have talked about the Phillies the last couple of weeks because they've been the only team that's been pretty much active besides the Sixers in the playoffs and the Flyers. But what are your thoughts about the whole 60 games, the sprint to the finish, the bullpen? Because the Tommy Hunters, the Robertsons, the signings that they made were decent at the time. those guys really didn't fill out the way that they were supposed to.
Right. Well, Tommy, he's a guy that injured on and off his whole career. He was a good starter for quite a while for the Rangers. And then they put him in the bullpen, and all of a sudden he was throwing 98 miles an hour. So when they got him, still got him on the back end of his career. Now, the David Robertson deal, again, that's pretty late in his career. So those signings, yeah, they're veteran guys, but what are you actually expecting out of them as far as volume goes?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the Robertson was unfortunate. I mean, this is a guy that they signed him 2 years ago and never got hurt before. And then he has the elbow injury, 3 appearances into his, Phillies tenure, and he hasn't pitched yet. And all of a sudden next year is his last year on that contract. So that's just a bad luck signing. I thought it was a good idea to sign somebody like that to the back end of your bullpen, but that's the crapshoot of free agency too. I mean, that's what happens. You can't predict an injury like that. So
you have to do your due diligence as far as injuries go with these guys.
Yeah. Yep.
We have a question coming in from Brian Attar, one of our Sports Box hosts, and here is the question of the day. How much of a disaster would it be if JT walks? And we were talking about this. We were talking about this before we came on the show, and obviously he was the cornerstone of that trade was Sixto Sanchez, who looks like a young Pedro Martinez right now, and JT may not sign. So
may not.
Yeah, will not. I should say.
I can say with almost 99.9% accuracy, he will not be here next year.
Wow!
All you had to do was listen to Middleton's press conference the other day.
That's a shame.
And the other thing is, they took the guy to arbitration
twice.
Which
yeah. Well, this time was bad. Yeah.
Like Mitch says, they sit you in an office and tell you how bad you are, and that you're not worth any money. That's who we trying to sign now.
That's what arbitration is. It's just them sitting across from you, telling you, man, how horrible you are at your job.
Jesus.
That you're not worth an extra, what was it, like $2.4 million or something like that? They offered him 10, and he wanted 12.4 or something like that. So
all that happens there is the arbitrator decides who is more out of line.
Right.
So obviously, both years, the arbitrator looked at JT's number and said that's out of line. So they award the club with the win.
Right. I mean, what do they do for? It's not like they have a catcher in a pipeline here that you could seriously say, "Oh, we got no problem bringing him in." But
we have Knapp. Knapp is a very good backup.
Very good backup, but he's not a starter.
But that kid they brought up at the end of the year weighs 170 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to see this. He couldn't take the stress of 162.
Nope.
And you got Shorts. What are you going to do if they don't sign Didi, who was our MVP of the year?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with this? There's so many holes. I don't know what they're going to do unless they just
let's just put it this way. He said they're not done making moves. Well, their only shot with Didi is because he and Joe Girardi like each other so much.
Right.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
And this team actually, their lineup, if they'd have gotten into the postseason, they would have been dangerous.
Yeah.
Just for the simple fact their lineup can throw up some runs, especially when Reese gets back healthy. I didn't know that his injury was so severe. I didn't know he was having Tommy John on his left elbow. So he'll be out to start next year.
They said 4 to 6 months. Yeah, they said 4 to 6 months now.
I didn't know that either.
Alex was going to end up playing first.
Yeah, for the short term probably.
Yeah.
But how? I mean, that's the one bright spot. I mean, speaking of a guy like Bohm, I mean, he was for 60 games or 50. How he ended up playing like 50 games. He was a rookie of the year candidate and probably the most consistent hitter.
Candidate. I think you should be the rookie of the year.
Yeah.
The Cronenworth from San Diego is really good.
Jake Cronenworth, yeah.
But I think Bohm, and then they're talking about Sixto. They got everybody. The last.
What, he pitched 5 games?
I know, but listen, the guy's special. Guy's
Yeah.
special.
Yes.
But
But Bohm was their most consistent. I mean, he hit, he end up hitting 320, 330, for that
He
stretch.
hit closer to 350, didn't he?
I think he tailed off.
I think
he tailed off just a
338.
little bit at the end. Yeah. But
Yeah.
But
Now-
either way, in over 300 in his first year. So
This question is pretty much.
He's confident. Real quick, Mike. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead.
He's confident. He's the only guy that looks like he's having fun outside of Bryce,
Bryce.
who's got a pair of balls, and JT, and Didi. But so
I agree. They got something with him for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
This question is pretty much for all you guys. With all the issues that the bullpen had, and just sitting here, the bullpen probably cost him 8 games. I would just off the top of my head. How do you think Joe Girardi did this year as a coach?
I think he did all he could.
Huh.
They had 14 blown saves, I believe.
Yeah,
it was a lot.
So it didn't cost them 8 games; it cost them 14.
Yeah.
Say they convert half of those, they win the division.
Oh yeah.
we predicted 36 wins at the beginning of the year.
Did you really?
If they would have won 36, they win the division because the Braves won with 35 wins. So they win 36 games.
Yeah, that was right on.
They win the division by a game. So
that would have been right on.
And I believe the Phillies had the most first inning runs. Like, how many games did they go out to like an early lead?
They were a starting pitcher's best friend.
Yeah. Yep.
Also, what did you guys think about the new rules that were going on now that we're going into the playoffs? Okay, we're in the playoffs right now. What did you guys think about the new rules of more teams going in? I know, Mitch, as you're shaking your head, I know this is a sore spot for you, so I'll let you start off and let you go.
Well, I don't like a lot of the new rule. I don't like the running into the catcher rule.
Yeah,
that was one of the most exciting plays in baseball.
Yeah,
and because poor little Buster Posey got a boo-boo, they changed the rule. And this extra inning debacle, that's a joke. But the rule that's hurting the game more than any is that 3-batter rule.
With the relievers.
There's no strategy to the game at all. It makes it I didn't think it was possible, but they're making the game of baseball even more boring. And it's been given the rap that it's a boring game. They're making it even worse. They're making it unwatchable.
Well, the problem is right now it's a home run strikeout game. So if there's not a lot of action in between that, I mean, it is tough to watch. I mean, the stolen bases and the small balls like almost out of the equation at the moment.
Yeah.
Have you seen
some of these guys don't even know what a hit and run is.
No.
Have you seen the ratings? We talked about the ratings. The 4 games that were on last week, I think, were down 40-50%.
Oof.
It was
That's bad.
Yeah, it's insane. And then the Yankees game the other night, Mitch, was what, 5 hours? What they say it was 4 hours?
4 hours and 50 minutes.
Oof.
Longest 9-inning game? Was it the longest 9-inning game in playoff history? Yeah. So what's that tell you? Yeah, they're not accomplishing anything. They keep saying they're trying to speed up the game. They're not accomplishing it. So it's what.
All right, guys, I'm getting a dirty look from the queen over here for dinner.
All right, real quick, just tell them how much you like the commissioner.
Oh, I love the commissioner.
Yes.
He's a wonderful man. He's done nothing but great things for our game. That would be what I'd say. That would be what I'd say if I was looking for a job in the commissioner's office.
Yeah.
This guy has done more to hurt the game of baseball than anybody in its history.
Even worse than the previous one?
Yes, he allowed cheating to go on for 3 years. The integrity of the game, that's his one big job. Protect the integrity of the game. And he have a cheating scandal with hitters using electronics so they know what pitch is coming. And that goes on for 3 years, and then not one of those players is punished.
And they're still allowed to be in the playoffs, and they're in the second round right now.
They won a World Series, which should have been stripped.
Right.
Altuve won an MVP award that should have been in Aaron Judge's hands before God got the news.
What's Altuve doing now?
Not much.
He had 217 in a regular season or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's hard to hit a
when
baseball when you don't know what's coming. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks,
Mitch,
for having
thank
me.
you.
Ray.
Yep.
I'll see
See
you
you, Mitch.
Friday.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Mitch. Thanks for coming on. All right. That's
Real
Mitch
quick,
Williams.
So one thing that Mitch says is the league finds you. Like, you look at Rhys Hoskins and people are like, well, his first year we thought he was the next Mike Schmidt, and look at Pete Alonso this year.
Oh yeah.
Batted
He struggled. He struggled.
Down here.
Guy hit 54 home runs as a rookie.
Yeah. He still hit for power. I think he still hit like 15 home runs, but
He started off slow though.
Yeah.
Batting average was way down.
Yeah.
But
Started off very slow.
And we tortured Rhys in the beginning, but Rhys did work at it, and he fixed his swing, and he had a good second half of the season.
Yeah.
We can't say that about good old number 4. He just kept going down and down and down.
Kingery. Yeah. Kingery.
Oh my God. And I think he finished at 120, 130.
Do you think Kingery got there? I think one of the comments was, and it might have been Crucky might have said it, maybe lifting too much, got too big. It looks like he got too big, put on too much mass. I don't know.
But not only that, all this analytic and swing, they're telling you how hard the ball's coming off the bat, and the what's the launch angle. My God, that's another word. If you want to get him started, just say launch angle.
Oh yeah, we forgot. We didn't get into the whole analytical because I know he doesn't like that either. So yeah, that's.
And I think you could see the adjustment that Rhys made, and that's why Bohm is so good, because he hits the other way naturally. He reminds me of Jeter. To me, when Jeter was young and skinny, he reminds me the way he swings like Jeter.
I was really impressed. I think it was like the Friday of the last weekend of the series, the season, when Charlie Morton was pitching for the Rays, and he threw that nasty, I don't know, looping slider or something, and he went the other way with the pitch, and it was like 5 feet off the plate, and just stuck his, the barrel out and went that way. I mean, that's not something usually a rookie 23, 24 years old can do with no problem. So that right there shows me that, he can hit to all fields. The power is going to come. I know he only hit like 5 or 6 home runs, but the power will come. I'd rather him focus what he just was doing this year, focusing on going to the middle of the field and the other way, and all that other stuff's going to come. They said he's a 30 home run guy. So
look how skinny he is right now. He's going to fill out.
Yeah, and that too.
We knew he was going to be a little bit of problem defensively. I mean, that was the one thing that they called. They said he was going to be a little bit of a problem
at third base. Yeah,
at third base. But I love the kid. I think he's the kind of guy that you need there. He had some life in him, and you could just tell he's a ball player, man. You could just tell he's like a Bryce Harper mold. So, and they almost traded him. I don't know if you know this. The Cubs turned down Bohm for Bryant.
Chris Bryant. And right now, we're I guess from a Phillies fan perspective, we're happy because Chris Bryant's, struggling now. Did not have a good year. Right. Yeah, did not have a good year, and the Cubs are not even in the playoffs, so they got swept by the Marlins. So, so that's that with the Phillies. Velardi, would you want to get into next the rest of the?
I mean,
let's go.
We could just talk briefly about the playoffs. We could just talk about Eagles last night, and we could just finish up if you want. I mean, listen, me and you had the Twins going to this World Series, but that we could talk about that being a flop already. But
they can't even win a playoff game. They've lost 18 straight playoff games.
I thought this was different this year. I don't know. They seemed like they had a lot of kids who were on the rise, and I don't know what happened.
There really isn't. I can't think of one thing they're missing other than it's just a mental thing now, playoff-wise. Like Kenta Maeda, they traded for, and Maeda pitched very well for them this year. And that was kind of they thought was that missing, needing a frontline type starting pitcher. But as far as their offense, I mean, there's no holes in their offense and their lineup. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously Houston for 2 days played very well in Minnesota, and we said there was going to be some wacky things with a best in three series, and we saw with the Marlins. So it's just case in point.
Well, and for this series, I mean, right now the Astros are up 7-5 in the bottom of the sixth in the ALDS game.
Yeah, a bunch of home runs being hit in that game. Yeah,
I think we had, at least I did. I had the A's, Yankees, and Rays all winning that first round, but nobody had the Astros.
No, we both didn't pick the Astros.
Yeah, so
Rays and Yankees is going to be, I think, a pretty exciting series on a neutral site. We'll see how it goes.
That's right. Where are they all at? Texas? Where are they going?
They're in San Diego, I believe.
Okay.
They're in San Diego. It looks like the Houston Oakland series is in LA.
That's right. You're right. LA.
Yeah. And then they're in Texas too, the other series, I believe, the National League side.
It is nice to see, though, with all these bankroll teams, that you get the A's, the Rays, the Marlins. I mean, Mattingly couldn't even believe he made the playoff. He was crying. The guy was in tears.
He couldn't believe it, yeah.
After he clinched and now they're on to the second round. And like I said, you got that kid up there. I said it from day one. This Sixto Sanchez is going to haunt us for 10 years. And look at all the Phillies guys we gave up on Carrasco early on. It just seems like we give, all our pitching away. You know what I mean? And they're not going to sign Real Muto, it doesn't look like. So,
well, the Carrasco, it seemed like it took him a while to get to that point when the Phillies traded for Cliff Lee. Like, at that time, okay, we got to get Cliff Lee. And, what they did after that and decided to flip him to Seattle, and they got nothing in return. Thankfully, they brought him back a couple years later. But the initial trade of Cliff Lee, I didn't think was, it took Carlos Carrasco a little bit of time. He was a late bloomer, I guess you could say.
What about Don Brown? We wouldn't give Don Brown up.
He was untouchable in the Roy Halladay deal. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I went and saw him at Trenton when he was with the Trenton Thunder, and I thought he was the next Darryl Strawberry. He looked unbelievable. Threw a guy out in right field, hitting rockets. I said, wow, this guy is everything they say he is. And look at this guy. He's like coaching high school or college. I was checking on him the other day. He just disappeared. He had one good year. He made money. Made the All-Stars.
Made the All-Star team that year, yeah.
And then gone. Couldn't hit in the big leagues.
I think he just couldn't fix that swing. It was too loopy. It was just he didn't have a short enough swing. Never could fix it.
And you're going to see it with Mickey Moniak, too, is going to be the next.
He's no good. I can't see him ever panning out.
I read a quote today after they signed Moniak. This is true. So this is 2016.
Yep.
It said the Philadelphia Phillies may have taken the next transcending outfielder in baseball, Mickey Moniak. They gave the grade an A. Yeah. It says Moniak might be the next Bryce Harper or Mike Trout. He does everything well. Phillies need a complete player. Yeah. Today's headline says, looks like Moniak was a colossal bust. So there's your two headlines from 16 and 20.
Yeah. Well,
number one pick. He wasn't first round. He was the number one pick. You could have had Dante Bichette, a junior. You could have had Alonso went in 16. I mean, you can't miss on number one. Griffey.
That's a good topic. Listen, got a good topic for you.
Go ahead.
Good topic for you here. Between the three of us, anybody wants to jump in on a comment, I can name one off the top of my head right now. Of all, let's just call it top 5 picks in Philadelphia sports history, who have actually panned out for the Philly team. Obviously, Allen Iverson. You could say McNabb. Okay, who else? Are you going to say Ben Simmons yet?
No. Well, he's considered a star. I mean,
but is he elite?
I know. No, he doesn't.
Iverson had a Hall of Fame career. McNabb, he didn't have a Hall of Fame career. He's got his number retired by the Eagles. He still was the best quarterback in franchise history.
We brought up Iverson, versus Simmons the other day, and it's not even close. Just from what these kids came from. Iverson should still be in jail from when he threw chairs at high school.
Right.
This town came together and got him out, and then he goes to Georgetown.
Mm-hmm.
Thompson was like a father to him. It was like the perfect guy, to nurture this kid. And let me tell you, he was a pit bull. He was a 6-foot pit bull that you couldn't knock him down. You couldn't do anything to this guy. Yeah. And he shoved it up your ass every night.
Right.
And they broke his balls about practice. That's what he's going to go down. That's famous.
Listen.
It's still going to be said until the day he dies. And even probably after that. Yeah.
Think about it, though. Nolan Patrick, second pick, bust right now. I know he's got injuries. He's a bust, though. Yeah. Okay? Who else? Sean Bradley? What pick was he for the Sixers? 2? Wasn't he a 2 pick?
Even if you're going to focus. Yeah, go ahead.
Pat Burrell. Wasn't Pat Burrell number 1?
That's what I'm saying. I'm going through. He won
Pat Burrell
here, but
J.D. Drew didn't even sign with us.
Yeah.
I'm going through. I'm thinking in my head of all the people we've picked in the top 5, and I can only name 2 or 3 of them that actually had great careers here. That's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
No, McNabb was the right call because when you look, you can see what happened to the running back. He couldn't.
Ricky Williams, right?
That everybody, and I did too. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, but I thought McNabb had it, like you said, a great career.
He still had a great, still had a great career.
I love the Randall years. I was around going 10-6 every year, reaching the first round of the playoffs. But I tell you what, you had a lot of fun, man.
And the defenses were ferocious,
with the black cleat. Oh, look, there's 2 of them.
It's hard said. Peter Forsberg was I'm talking about that the Flyers drafted, but he's going with the Flyers drafting him and the Lindros. That's what I'm talking about. Well, Lindros wasn't really drafted by the Flyers either. So
no.
What I'm saying is I can't. I mean, Embiid. You know what I mean? I'm trying to really think of. I mean, Iverson sticks out the most, but I mean, I can't really pinpoint too many guys that we've taken in the top 5, and the Phillies especially with that Moniak pick, and that was a huge. You could look at the pickers that were taken in that draft.
You know who? Yeah, I'm just going to name one right now. The Braves took, and
Ian Anderson.
The Braves took Ian Anderson, who just pitched a gem for the Braves last week against the Reds in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I like the lefty who went to Florida, AJ Puck, who's with Oakland now.
Oh yeah, I liked him too. I watched him in college. Yeah,
I would have taken him. I was actually saying at the time, the Moniak thing they kept saying had all to do with he would have been the cheapest number 1 pick to sign, as far as they didn't want to go out and give the number 1 pick whatever that draft slot signing bonus is. Is it $8-9 million now? I don't even know how much it is, but
now you got a guy that cannot hit a 91. Did you ever see a major league hitter get blown away by a 91 mile an hour? Velardi can hit a 91 mile an hour.
Yeah, he could if he could time it up. Yeah.
I'm not saying anything bad. This kid can hit a 91 mile an hour fastball right now. I would need about 10 swings, but
you would hit it.
Oh, I'd hit it. But the thing is, this guy gets blown away like. I know he's a rookie, but Jesus Christ. I mean, it's not even. He doesn't have. Now look at him and look at Bone.
Right.
Yeah, night and day.
Look at those 2 guys.
Yep.
Ray, I was going to ask when Mitch was here. It lost my mind, but how bad is it that you have a chance to make the playoffs and you get swept by the Rays with Wheeler, Nola? You can't win 1 game.
That's all they needed to do.
Shut out 5-0.
They went 1-8 their last 9 games.
How's it possible?
Lost 7 their last 8. Yeah.
I'm telling you, and the worst part is, Mitch thinks with Nola's motion that he's going to be a guy that's going to have arm problems in the near future, just because he's down here a lot.
Yeah.
He doesn't like. I mean, it looks like he's throwing wiffle balls.
Right. Yeah, it does.
But
a little bit. Yeah.
Where his arm angle is, he thinks he's just a guy that's candidate for Tommy John, and it's going to happen. getting back to the contracts real quick.
Yeah.
Tell me one $200 million pitching contract, and you could go back to the lefty from the Giants that started, with the A's, that slow lefty signed
Zito.
100. Zito was the first, you know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
There's only been one. I think the only guy is the guy from the Nationals that won 2 Cy Youngs.
Scherzer.
He's the only guy, I think, when you look at it dollar for dollar, was worth his contract. None of them from you could go back to, I don't care, 80s, 90s, 2000s. And the worst thing is, and I hate to say it for Bryce, but I think he's different. Look at Stanton. Look at A-Rod. Well, A-Rod, the steroids. But look at Stanton. But the worst was Trout's buddy, Pujols. My God. Now, let me tell you, he was the greatest hitter I ever seen. And I'll tell you who reminds me of him. The Soto reminds me of a left-handed Pujols.
Yeah.
He's really, really, really good. Yep.
Pujols, when he signed, it went down and down and down. And now he gets like $1 million home run, $1 million for a home run. But I personally think all these guys were taking supplements, something. You couldn't tell me Ryan Howard. I said it to Mitch. When Ryan Howard hit 54 home runs and he went down, 58. You got all these big guys. The home runs just went down because I think they all stopped juicing. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And because they juiced, you see all their bodies breaking down. Where'd you notice all these injuries? All these injuries. A guy broke his fingernail, Wheeler.
Yeah.
Zipping his pants.
Mitch said I would have put crazy glue on my nail and went and threw the game, So
now he ended up pitching the last 2. He skipped the start, right? But he ended up pitching the last 2 games. But
and I like Wheeler. I like Wheeler.
I was just going to mention that when we were talking about contracts. So far of that 5-year, $118 million contract he'll take. I would have pitched
well. He pitched well.
I would have signed Dallas Keuchel too, but they didn't, for whatever reason. They don't want to sign one of these lefties for some reason.
I've been crying for one for 3 years.
They want to sign They want to sign Arrieta. Woo!
Well, good thing he's a free agent now, and we'll never see him again. And he might as well just retire at this point.
Now, there's a guy that. And the crazy thing is, in the beginning, early part of the season, when his ball was moving, I was like, wow, we got him back. Like, we thought he was healthy for once and that you were going to see the real Arrieta, and then he just faded off. So.
Yep. All right, you want to get into a little football now?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, the game was so exciting last night, I fell asleep at halftime.
I did. I fell asleep in the fourth quarter.
I mean, listen.
And they were losing still 14-11 when I fell asleep.
I didn't even know they were losing, so thanks for telling me that.
Yeah.
I saw that they were winning. I think I actually fell asleep in the middle of the – I don't even know when I don't even know. I saw they intercepted a pass, and that was about it. But not that the game was disinteresting, but listen, apparently Carson Wentz looked like a quarterback last night, so that's a good thing. Listen, the Eagles – it's almost like as a fan, you want to see your team do good. The division is horrible. Do you want them to finish 3-13, or do you want them to win the division at 7-9 or 6-9-1? You know what I mean? You don't even know what you want right now because the division's so bad. Do you want them to get into the playoffs at 6-9-1 and maybe lose in the first round and pick 17? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't get it. I don't know where to stand.
Wentz, I don't know who got in his ass, but he's running. He's not sliding. He's diving for first downs. I think he's hearing all the he says he doesn't care and he doesn't listen to all the negative talk. But when you got Jalen Hurts back there, now he's coming in. You notice he's coming in more and more as the games go on.
Right.
He's got to hold on to the damn ball. But he threw one perfect pass last night.
Yep.
And how about here's to the practice squad? Those guys make like $300,000-$400,000 a year.
Yeah.
Because the kid from St. Joe, when he signed, that's like the average salary these guys get. You had the one kid, I don't know their names, number 13 catches that bomb in stride.
Yeah. Fulgham, Josh Fulgham, whatever. Yeah.
And then you had the D-back or whoever the pick six. He was a practice squad guy.
Yeah, Singleton and the linebacker.
And the third tight end. He made some key catches.
Richard Rodgers, yeah.
And he recovered the onside kick. He almost got out, but so there you go. There's three guys that you would have never imagined, and they make plays, and the Eagles win a game no one picked them to win. So and they should be three. Dallas should be 0-4, and Philly should at least have 2-3 wins easily.
Yeah, I mean, I have mixed emotions about with Velardi. Velardi making the point of, at this point, they're not a Super Bowl contender. I mean, they're nowhere near it.
No.
But this division, obviously, with Dallas continuing to not be able to stop the opponent, that seems to be their main issue this year, and why they're 1-3. But even with it's just unbelievable to think that the Eagles win their first game last night and they're in first place because the tie actually works to their favor right now. But
nobody's bitching now about that tie.
No, but I just feel that, it was good to see. I liked the Carson was much more aggressive last night running the football because we haven't seen that in a while, and I think you need more of that. He made some good throws, but obviously still some mistakes that, you just scratch your head. But I think just overall the way the game went last night, it doesn't change my perspective on where this season's headed. I still think, with Pittsburgh coming up this week, Baltimore then the following week, I mean, you have to figure it's still going to be 2 losses right there. And you're still going to be back to, where do you go from here? And you point the finger at the general manager again. You point the finger at the head coach. I mean, they all get a reprieve for 1 week, just naturally. But I think we're going to be reminded again next week that things aren't all, peaches and cream right now with this team. So that's my point.
I was saying to a couple coworkers, just BSing about the game. Doug finally had balls again last night. You saw the RPOs and Carson was taking the ball himself.
Went for 2.
Yeah, they weren't. Yeah, right. And that really won them the game if you think about it.
You bet your ass it did. At one point, came back to.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But they were doing things that they weren't really doing before. And this is call your game. Don't. And they took Miles Sanders out at the end of the game. And they asked Peterson about it today. He said, I wanted to go with a bigger back. I wanted to go with Clement at the end of the game. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. Interesting stat for you.
You go ahead.
That kid, the wide receiver,
had
more yards. I think he had 52 yards this game. He had more yards than Arcega-Whiteside has had in his last 7 games. 38. You believe that?
Listen.
That's embarrassing, by the way.
You got. I mean, I'll give Lane Johnson credit. He was limping on and off. He was doing what he could do. But your stars on offense and defense didn't even show up last night, especially on defense. I mean, you really won that game last night. Now I know they were, they had some injuries too. But look at this. When they put that third string quarterback in, I thought it was over. This guy came out of nowhere.
Yeah, third, yeah.
And let me tell you, if he had one more play, I was scared to death. The one thing that kills me, all these Hail Marys.
Oh yeah.
I mean, could they hit any more hands?
Did you see the still footage of it?
Yes. Does anyone just knock?
If Slay's hand wasn't in there, that guy was a caught ball.
Punch it into the stands.
They all look for that stat of interception to end the game. Who cares? You knock it down. Yeah.
Bet your ass. That's what it is.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
And if they lost that game, they'd have listen, you'd have seen riots. They'd have burned Philly down again.
Yeah, but I mean, the one positive, the defensive lines, the last 2 games have gotten it going. They're first in the league in sacks, I believe, now with their performances over the last couple of weeks.
They have top 5 defense right now. I mean, I just in a couple stats. I mean, Jim Schwartz is not the problem. Everybody's blaming him. All right, they got cooked at the end of the game by the Rams. He doesn't. What linebackers? Every time I see a picture of Nate Gary, he's looking backwards. he's got nobody to work with, dude. And
he leads the team in tackles, doesn't he? They said
Gary?
Gary said that last night. Check.
Yeah, because everybody gets.
Yeah, probably. I mean, usually you figure the linebacker is going to be amongst the leader in tackles, but
listen, there was major mistakes. There was major mistakes made in this past draft. I mean, we can look at it now with Rager being hurt. Listen, Ayuk's jumping over people. Justin Jefferson scoring touchdowns.
The athleticism of these guys. Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb's going crazy. Patrick Queen. They could have had a bunch of guys. And we go and take Rager.
Who got Judy?
Denver did.
How's he doing?
Doing pretty good. So I think he had like 90 yards the last game. You know, it was a strong receiver class. We knew that coming in. You know, between him and CeeDee Lamb and
listen, it's all the same thing. Deshaun Jackson can't stay on the field when he's playing. They have him on a pitch count pretty much. Now he only plays 10 games of freaking 10 plays a game. Like, come on, what are we doing here?
Peters is another one.
Yeah, you bring back aging guys that can't stay healthy. That's
Mailata actually played really well last night, according to the grades he got, and he a couple of coverage things, but the guy's learning. Put his ass out there. I don't want Peters out there.
Well, we don't have to worry about it for the next couple games.
Good.
He actually asked for more money. Boy,
and he got it. He got it right,
and he got it.
Maybe he'll ask for more to go back to left guard now.
I think we've seen. I think this will probably be it for him because now it's starting to, they're starting to say, does this affect his Hall of Fame career? Because
he's still a Hall of Famer. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I mean, people were talking about that Eli ruined his Hall of Fame chances the way he was playing at the end of the year, at the end of his career.
I mean, look at his
Super Bowl winner, MVP,
Super Bowls. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
and he's a Manning. He's
right.
Super Bowl MVP. He's good. He's good.
They got the nephew now. They're already talking.
Yeah, did you see that Arch?
I saw that Arch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's legit.
5 touchdowns.
I saw some of the highlights from last week. Yeah.
Yeah. So got to watch out for him. But I mean, you're right. I don't know. I don't know if the answer is to go get 2-3 wins and get a great draft. I don't know. Or win the division at 6-10 or 7-9.
Listen,
or 7
lost in the shuffle is Andre Dillard, okay, who got hurt. What if Mailata plays good?
Mm-hmm.
What if he plays good at left tackle? Where's Dillard go? You put him back at guard somewhere? Because Lane Johnson ain't going nowhere.
That's
it's a good problem to have, but
yeah,
I wouldn't even know where to go from there. Because Dillard has sucked too, pretty much. They said.
But remember, at the beginning of the year, all we heard was speed.
Yeah.
How many bombs did we throw? 3, 4? I mean,
yeah, and he overthrew 3 of them, and he connected on 1 of them.
That's what scares me. I
was watching I was listening to something today, and I think a lot of Peterson and Roseman, they try to be the smartest guy in the room type thing. They tried to draft gadget guys. Rager's a punt returner. He's a gadget guy. Hurts. Did they really draft him to be the quarterback of this team? Probably not. He's a gadget guy. All right. Did they really draft a second-round pick to be a guy who's going to play? He played 4 snaps yesterday. 4! What are we doing? We're just keeping a guy active for 4 snaps? Is he really going to be that productive?
The other thing you have to question about Carson is we keep hearing that his teammates don't like him.
Right.
And I don't know what kind of leader he is. From what I'm being told, just look at and I'm talking about journeymen like Fitzpatrick. You look at guys that they're running up and down the field. The players are, respect them and love them. And you just don't see that with Wentz. And I don't know how much these guys, and that's why I think privately, if you would ask all these guys who they should have kept,
McCown.
I think privately, if it doesn't get out, they tell you Foles.
But McCown said the same thing about Wentz. So, and I love McCown. I think he was great last year.
Yeah, I don't think – do you ever see his team – do you ever see them surround him and you know what I mean?
Not really.
And every time he messes up, the helmet's off and he's just – you know what I mean?
we don't see everything. All we could see is some of the body language when they show him, during games and obviously reactions. But what goes on behind closed door and how he's commanding that locker room, we can't really say. I mean, I think there is something to it to a point.
Oh, yeah.
Though. Yeah.
And the other thing is he's got the owner's ear. And
Right.
I heard he goes over Doug's head, for stuff. And I don't even know how much what their relationship's like because Wentz is the franchise and
they gave him the money.
He acts that way. So who knows, it's a mess. I mean, Philly right now is, 16 teams made the playoffs. I mean, just think of that. Half the teams made it. And
bad things happen. Bad things happen in Philadelphia, according to the president.
And the NFL's got an extra playoff team this year on both sides. Yeah. So it's going to be seven on both sides. Only the top seed is going to be the only one that gets to bye. So that's going to be weird this year too, the way that's set up. But
listen, unless a miracle happens and somehow they win, I don't know, 1 out of the next 2 or 2 out of 2. I mean, hey, look, who knows? Who knows? What's the spread on next week's game?
I didn't look. I can look real quick.
I think I saw it at 8. I think it was like 8. I think. Let me look. It's more than. I'm pretty sure it's more than a touchdown.
For the Eagles? We got
Pittsburgh would be Pittsburgh's 7 right now.
Yeah, 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, let's see what happens.
When have the Eagles been getting 7 points in back-to-back or 7 points at all ever? You've never seen that.
I said on our show to bet Philly, the game to bet was I don't really bet football, but the game to bet was the Rams game. To me, that was free money. For that game to go off at 1 or 2 points, whatever it went off at, with the Rams.
Yeah.
And the Eagles at one point late in the game were down like 6 points and they were marching. I'm like, oh my God, they got a shot at going ahead. And then sure enough, they got blown out. But to me, that was the game of the year. I was texting everybody. I'm like, my God, do I bet the house on the Rams? Because it just seemed like it was free money. And I, like usual, I don't bet, so I didn't put nothing in. But I don't know how that game could have been a 2-point game. 1 point, whatever it went off at.
Yeah, I think it was 2. I believe it ended up being.
Come on, man, 2 points. And Goff starts off 12 for 12.
Yeah, that was awful. I mean, Goff looked like Joe Montana in the first quarter and a half. I mean, and we know he's nowhere near that. So.
And you think Carson would have a little pride, because he was 1 and Carson was 2, and so now you got this forever rivalry of who was the right guy to take. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Hey, look, I said on our show 3 things happened. He became rich, he got married, and
got
he
pregnant.
had a kid.
Yep.
And
he had a kid. Yeah.
There you go. There's 3. What changed in those 3 things?
Trifecta.
The guy was in college. The guy was, single when he came in the league. Running and gunning and diving, and now it's like they say in Rocky, the worst thing that happens to a fighter is they become civilized. It's the same thing for these athletes. I swear to God. As soon as they get money, cars, and they want to rap, they want to be in movies.
They want to rap.
It's all over. It's all over.
Paul, wrap it up, bud.
All right. Well,
what are you gonna do?
Nah.
You're gonna do your crowd play or no?
We're good tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it for tonight here. It was great to obviously have Ray with us, Ray Scipione, for the entire show. Mitch Williams was with us for the first 20-25 minutes. It was great to talk some baseball with him.
We do have to plug something tonight, though. We do have to plug the NHL draft show tomorrow. Because
I wasn't even going to do that.
Where do you go? You're going live as they're drafting, you go?
Yeah, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We're going to be drafting live. And I hate to do this, but I have to. Just watch.
It is now time to see who the winning team is.
The first selection in the 2020 NHL Draft belongs to the New York Rangers.
I think I just heard an explosion in a Tard's pants. Or again,
No, let me tell you, that room he's got, that room is amazing. I have never seen
this one.
So we closed on our house the day of Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I always joke with my wife that buying a house was the second most important thing going on that day. I think every third thought in my mind is about the team. I can't turn it off. My Ranger Man Cave was a project that I've always wanted to do when I finally got a house. Most wives would not sign up for that. If you remember, why you like the teams that you do, it's probably some of your first emotional attachments that you make when you're a kid. I can't wait to share that with him. When we can enjoy it together, it'll be the greatest thing.
Dude, he made
that's awesome.
MSG Network, dude.
Dude, that room is dynamite. I mean, you get guys, they put too much stuff. You know what I mean? It's a little, but he's got it painted like with the blue and the red. It looks really good. That's a great room.
He did, yeah. He did it as the like the same paint color as the,
Oh, no.
everything's legit. Even though I hate the shit out of him, but it's legit.
Oh no, it's legit.
I'm sure he's commenting over here. Let me see.
That's like
I don't think he's saying that.
No, Dan decided to comment. He was just at my house. That's why.
He said nerd. Yeah.
I got a Kiss room that looks like that, but no sports teams.
Yeah, you're a big Kiss fan.
Oh yeah, big as they come, as you can see. As you can see, I got to get my balls broke by him about how fat I look on camera. My God.
We do have the NHL Draft Show tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We're going to be going live as hopefully the number one pick, some French guy, Lafernier or whatever his name is. I hope he gets COVID tomorrow night and is unable to
be careful.
I hope he gets quarantined that he can't be picked. I hope they make a rule about that. And the Tard can't have his wish. Or I hope they trade the picks for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I'll get lucky.
When do the Flyers pick?
23rd, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's 23.
Yeah, they decided to go further in the playoffs this year than they needed.
Shut up. You sound like a Tard.
Hey, they were the number 1 seed. What are you going to do?
Yeah, they had a nice little run. What are you gonna do?
It wasn't bad.
Yeah. It's fine.
Then,
they're going to be all right.
Matt Niskanen, he retired today, so they got $5.3 million in cap space.
Yep. So go make a move.
But then they just signed Justin Braun to another 2 years or something.
Did they?
Hey,
yeah.
You didn't say anything about Doc Rivers, man.
Yeah, it's true. We didn't have a Doc Rivers discussion. That's for Baseline Jumper.
All right, but I just want to tell you real quick.
Yeah.
There's a documentary out on him. You got to watch. It's on Netflix. It's I forget what it's called. It's like I think it's an hour, 2 hours on Doc Rivers and about his coaching practices and how these guys, and it goes back to when the Celtics won, how they just loved this guy and they were very tight. And that's, Mitch always talks about the 93 team, how they really loved each other. I mean, as much of a dick as Schilling was and Dykstra was on the field, as you can see, on the field, they drank together, they played together, and they to this day they're all Kruk, Dave Hollins, they're still very close. Mitch, all those guys. Yeah. So, but
awesome.
And you don't see that anymore, and that's the thing that sucks.
Yeah.
You don't see it in high school. Mike will tell you, you don't see it in high school. You kind of see it in college, because kids in high school are trying to go to college, and then definitely not in the pros. So.
Absolutely. All right. Once again, thanks, Ray, for having you on.
Got it.
Yeah, make sure you check Ray and Mitch out on Mitch Williams Unleashed, MitchWilliams99.com and the Apple Store. When you guys are going on again, Ray?
Mondays
on the podcast? Monday and Friday?
At 11.
Okay, Mondays and Fridays at 11. Catch them each weekday for 2 days during the week. All right, that's it for the show here on Sportsmanlike Conduct. Once again, Paul Macrie and Mike Velardi here. Have a great evening, everybody. We got 2 football games here tonight, so enjoy a doubleheader of Monday Night Football. And once again, Ray Scipione, thanks, Ray, for coming on. We'll see you next week. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you for watching the Sports Box. Follow us on Facebook at Sports Box Show, Twitter at Sports Box Show, Instagram at The Sports Box Show, find us on YouTube, and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our friends at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 points. See you next time.